Welcome back, Anxious Gamers. We are your hosts. I'm Chris.
And I'm Josh.
We have another jam-packed video gaming episode for you guys. We're going to kick it off with some gaming news, talk about what we are currently playing this week, and then our main topic, which is probably going to take up this whole episode. The final and latest Tears of the Kingdom trailer has dropped. 3 minutes of pure goodness. And yeah, but we'll come back to that. So, review. Let's go.
I loved it. My kids loved it.
Me too.
I had the stupidest grin on my face the whole time.
I teared up a little bit with the music, like hearing
really?
the orchestrated versions of stuff. Because, I mean, Mario Galaxy was the first Mario game to have a real orchestra play. And just hearing like some of like the Super Mario World, Mario Bros. 3, some of the 64 stuff. Oh, man, it was so good.
Dude, it was chock full of just Easter eggs. There was just so much stuff in it. And I got really excited when they started off with the explanation for the accents. And they're doing the commercial, and then it switches, and Mario's like, is that too much? And Charles Martinet's character is like, no, it's just a perfect.
Yeah, and did you catch this in the credits? Charles Martinet is his last name. I have a hard time saying it all the time. He actually is the voice actor for Mario's dad.
The dad, yeah.
Which is so hilarious.
This was interesting. Did you notice that Mario's dad looks a heck of a lot like Talon?
Oh.
He had the same beard and everything. And it always seemed like a reference that Talon in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask was supposed to be kind of like Mario, because Ingo looks like Luigi and then Malon looks like Princess Peach.
Man. Okay. That's going to be a whole other episode right there. Nintendo character theories. I'll have to jot that down.
Yeah. So what did you think about the movie?
I loved it. There were like a few things that were kind of Illumination took over, you know. Like I think their dog designs are terrible. The dog part was funny. And then like when like AC/DC Thunderstruck starts playing and like that typical kind of like kid movie stuff, which I get it. It's a kid movie. That was my only complaint. But like honestly, I loved it. It's so cool that we actually have a proper Mario movie, which the original Mario Bros. Movie is like it's skyrocketing right now and like streaming and stuff.
It deserves more love. Like it was super weird. Somebody was on acid when they wrote it and directed it and whatever else. I mean, it's just a cyberpunk movie with Mario and Luigi thrown in there, and the Goomba design is still one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen. I don't know who came up with that idea, but
it fits.
Yeah, I don't know. I still love that movie. It's so quirky, and I always wanted those rocket boots, like slap the bullet bill in the hill.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Go launching across the city.
Yeah. But yeah, all in all, great movie. Jess liked it as well. It was a stressful day that day. We were car shopping. Her car died. And so we were like, you know what? Let's take a break from these car dealers. And we went and saw the Mario movie. So definitely worth it. Go check it out, Anxious Gamers. It's a good one. All right. So next bit of news, which we'll save for our main topic. But 3-minute Tears of the Kingdom trailer came out. This really justified the game. For a lot of people. I was going to get it anyways, but it just, this was like the Twilight Princess E3 trailer, or like the final Breath of the Wild trailer, where it just really solidified, you know, the details and the story, and it just unlocked so much stuff.
I mean, there's so much more detail that we didn't see in any of the other trailers or demos or anything. Like the war machines, the anti-gravity, whatever's going on there.
Yeah.
Got to see more of the fuse ability. Just there's so much in there.
So much. And the big one, Ganondorf, which I was so... I mean, it's been since Twilight Princess that we've had a
17 years.
Yeah. It's been a minute, but just the fact that he's back really... I don't know. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Did you see the official art for Ganondorf?
Yes, he looks so
like
cool.
a samurai. Like it's super cool. I love the aesthetic. Because it really goes along with, because Kakariko Village really had like a whole Japanese vibe this time around.
It did, and then like the Yiga clan and the Yiga hideouts and stuff, like it was very, very Japanese samurai oriented. So,
but the part that, because I started recently replaying Breath of the Wild, kind of in preparation and to show it to my oldest son, who loves it, by the way. But we got to the part where King Roam is giving us the paraglider, and he's giving us his whole backstory or whatever. And they show the hero tapestry. And I know this has been reported on a few times, but like that's definitely Ganondorf in the hero's tapestry. Like because there's Calamity Ganon in the middle, Princess Zelda's on the left, and then that's definitely Ganondorf on the right. I always thought it was weird that he had like red hair and a beard and like green skin. I was like, that obviously doesn't look anything like Link, but it was never explained in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I've been one of the oddballs out where like the minute I saw that tapestry and like saw the first trailer of like when Zelda falls down, like they're underground, whether it's Hyrule Castle or whatever, I instantly knew. I was like, okay, that's Ganondorf, because I have a lot of theories, but we're going to come back to that.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We got to save it.
So, outside of Nintendo, kind of sad news for us Halo fans. Joe Staten has left Microsoft completely, and I'm kind of bummed.
And he was one of the like main developers for Halo.
OGs, right? One of the OGs with Bungie. Worked on pretty much a majority of the original trilogy, Reach, ODST. He was the savior of Halo Infinite. He came in, swooped in. He got the multiplayer out for Xbox's like 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
He helped finish the story with what was there. So we're super sad to see him go.
Did it say where he's going?
No, not that what I currently know. No, no idea.
I wonder if he's going to go start his own studio.
I'm really hoping so.
Like a lot of those guys that have been somewhere for a long time usually end up starting their own.
I would love to see him make
my theory is a new Halo competitor.
Oh, dude, or something just like like classic, a shooter with a good campaign, some multiplayer where you don't have to pay out of pocket for everything. Just something like that, but or go
back
into
to the roots.
Yeah, go back to the roots, or go to a company that needs help with their games, because he really pushed Halo Infinite to its limits, and unfortunately, I guess he did what he could. So we're super sad to see him go. But hey, we have an amazing trilogy we get to play through with some good spin-off games. So
yeah. And I mean, it's not like he's dead, so he's gonna end up somewhere making other great games, hopefully.
Yeah, it is just kind of a bummer though, because like Halo Infinite, like I like the game. I like it more than I thought I would, but it definitely just didn't hit that top for me. So
yeah, that's fair.
Sony handheld rumors. Go. What do you want to see?
Dude, I just want another PSP. Oh,
not gonna happen.
Oh, come on. Don't do that to me.
So the rumors, according to GameSpot.com, it's gonna be for remote play only.
So I'm okay with that, kind of.
I
already kind of have it, because like I can just hook up my DS5 to my phone, like I've got it. But I don't know, like I wouldn't mind like a dedicated device for that, I guess.
So I know a lot of people are like anti-cloud gaming and stuff. I get it, totally fine. Think what you want, do what you want.
Get over
it. I'm with you, because I do Game Pass with like the Backbone controller, and it's nice, but it's like if I could have something like the size of the Switch OLED for remote play, because the remote play works great if you have good internet, or even using
which
like
is
your
getting
phone
easier.
Data.
Like I think the last time I did a speed check on my phone, I was pulling down like 300, and I'm not in a metro area. Like I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere.
I'm okay with it. Like if that's your preference, if that's your thing, go for it. But I think Sony will probably get a lot of backlash from people like, this ain't no Vita 2, which like the Vita, no offense, the Vita is a good system and it has some hidden gems, but it was kind of a flop. It wasn't anything compared to the PSP. So
I think the biggest benefit to having a cloud only device like that is battery life. There's not a lot of, it just has to render video, right? And have, a good, I wonder if they're going to have a mobile card for, like you could put a SIM card in it.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
No
like it doesn't have to be Wi-Fi.
Which there have been a couple devices that have made like cloud specific consoles for Microsoft and Game Pass. Like I think actually Microsoft has one or works with a company and it's patented or branded by Microsoft. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've heard about that.
I'll have to send you a link or whatever. Okay. Yeah, that's the rumor. Which, like, don't get me wrong, Sony can make a phenomenal handheld, and like I said, the Vita was a good system. It just, I don't know, it just didn't hit, and I think Sony's in like a weird spot for a handheld because the PS5 is so like graphically enhanced, hardware enhanced,
which would be why they would go the cloud only route.
Yeah, because it's like, why would we make a system that's going to play games, or we have to develop, it's like the whole
it's a whole new tier of games.
Yeah. It's like the Wii and the DS. It's like, you have to make games for both.
They're competing directly with like a Steam Deck,
which that can do it all.
Right. I mean, if PlayStation's porting a lot of their games to Steam, anyways, like they work there.
Paper Mario 1000 Year Door remaster possibly happening.
What do you mean possibly?
Well, it just may be possibly happening.
Like it's a rumor?
It is a rumor.
Oh, don't get my hopes up like that again.
But it is a very good rumor. And I will have to share that in the description. Okay, guys? Come on. It's been a long week. No, I'm kidding. I definitely think it's going to happen because we have the Metroid Prime remake. I do think Wind Waker and Twilight Princess will come out eventually. I don't think they're going to come out soon because obviously Tears of the Kingdom.
Right, yeah, they don't want to take away from that. Is Paper Mario on Switch Online?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Paper Mario 64 is on Switch Online. Origami King, I enjoyed it. It's on Switch.
I love
and
Origami
the
King.
20th anniversary of Paper Mario is coming soon. So I think it's going to happen. There are sources out there. I just was irresponsible. So, yeah. We'll slap it in the video, okay? And my final bit of news is the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters are coming to Switch and PlayStation April 19th.
Ooh, nice.
So that was a big thing because a lot of people really wanted those on consoles. So
yeah, because we have them on mobile, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're really good remasters. Like you can toggle enemy pop-ins or whatever.
Like random encounters?
Yeah, random encounters. You can turn those on and off. The music's updated, but I think you can switch back to the original soundtracks as well.
Nice.
So they look great, and I'm super excited to play those, especially on Switch portably. Yeah. So what are you playing this week?
So after the last episode, and we ranked all of our Zelda games, and you can check that video out right here if you haven't already seen it. But Oracle of Seasons was in my top 5. I went and I replayed that over the last couple of weeks, and now I'm on Oracle of Ages. I still love it. It's so much fun. I mean, there's parts of it that are a little tedious, and it's aged not quite as well as I hoped. But I mean, the dungeon design, some of the items are just super interesting, like the Rock's Cape.
Yes.
Where you can jump and hold it. Yeah, and you get to glide. Yeah. Which, I mean, we kind of have in Breath of the Wild, but I would love for there to be another mobile Zelda. Like we got, the remake of Link's Awakening, but like I would love a new, fresh, especially give it over to Capcom again. I want to see what they can do.
That would be cool. Yeah, because I mean, I mentioned last episode too that I'm playing Minish Cap again, and that's another Capcom Zelda.
Yeah.
And Minish Cap was just brilliant. I mean, just so fun and cool, and I love the Link's Awakening remake. I would love to see A Link to the Past given that formula, or the other Game Boy games, or poured over Link Between Worlds. The top-down Zeldas aren't my favorite, but I play them. Like, I still really like them, and so a new one would be pretty cool too.
Yeah. So. Other than that, been replaying Breath of the Wild, as I mentioned earlier. So we're not too far into it, but a little bit of a slower pace since I'm playing with a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
but just as good as ever.
That's
He's
so
really
cool.
confused about some things. It's funny how much is in there that is, I guess, a nod to older games and just historical knowledge of the series. But like the first Korok popped up and he's like, what is that?
And this is going to be like his first Zelda experience, right?
We played through Link's Awakening together.
Okay.
Well, at least mostly together.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of fun with that one. But he was a lot younger when we did that. I think that was a good.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Years
so
ago.
This one will be like his kind of like.
This is the first one that he's helping play. So he's doing kind of the shrines by himself with, you know, some nudges here and there. Like he's like, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, well, look at the ability you just got. Like maybe there's something metal laying around, or what is that coming down the wall? Is that water? Oh, but he's picked it up really quickly. Like he's starting to kind of get the idea. I think his favorite ability so far is stopping time. Like he does that constantly. Even like not in the shrine, he'll just stop.
It's a lot of fun. Just the Sheikah Slate in general was just so unique, so cool.
I do want to say the look on his face when you activate that first tower and they all pop up out of the ground, but it goes slow-mo and the rocks are flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Dude, his face was so much fun to watch. He was just like, whoa.
Yeah. That, man, like, I started replaying it myself. This is my third playthrough. I kind of turned it off, not like in a bad way, like, oh, I'm done with the game or whatever, but like, I want to go back to it though. I just was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do all this again, because like my file is like 100%ed and like I just love going and like running around, but it is fun. It's just a game where like I feel like every time I replay it or start over, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this direction this time. And I mean, that's what they created it for, that open sandbox. Like you can go anywhere, everywhere, play it the way you want to play it. So very cool.
Well, nice. What else you playing?
Well, I'm one of those guys. I busted out Overwatch 2 this week. So I like the game. It's a lot of fun. I love just hopping on, doing some quick team deathmatch and stuff. So I busted that out. I'm still on Animal Crossing, trying to pay my house off.
Nice.
Trying to get as many bells as I can. And the last game I'm playing, which I'm super excited, just recently came out, the Mega Man Battle Network collection.
Oh, yeah.
So you can actually buy, you can buy it physically and get all 6 games on the cartridge, which is really cool. Or you can buy it separately, Volume 1, Volume 2. I just bought Volume 1. I had some points or whatever and got it because I don't think I'm going to beat all 6 of those games.
Right.
But yeah, I forgot how cool those games are. They're a lot of fun, and it's great to see Mega Man back. So here's hope that we get a new Mega Man game soon, or they do a Legends collection. That's been the other, hot topic between us Mega Man fans is like, okay, give us Legends now, because they already have, like, they have the original collection. They made a Mega Man 11. We have the X collection. We have the Zero ZX collection, the Battle Network collection. We need Legends. So if Legends comes out, I'm going to cry. Like, I'll legit cry because those are some of my favorite Mega Man games. The first one and the second one.
Tears of the fandom.
Yes, Tears of the fandom. They're going to be nice.
Nice. I hope there's lots of terrible anime cutscenes.
We don't talk about that one, okay? We already know. Well, we flew through what we were currently playing because I want to talk Zelda again. So let's talk about this Tears of the Kingdom trailer, our theories, our thoughts. Let me be honest with you. How did you feel when you first saw the first trailer in 2019 to now?
I was worried it was going to be more of the same.
Which is very common. A lot of people were like, it's going to be paid DLC.
Right. This should have just been a free update.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I knew that it's Nintendo. Like, I knew it was going to be something. But it's been really unclear as to what that something was going to be up until now, really. Like, even with the gameplay demo, like, it showed some cool things. Like, oh, we got new abilities. But this really, like, drove home how big of a difference this is going to be. Just the war machines, I think the storyline is going to be awesome. I hope it's not all flashbacks and memories this time. I want to be in the story.
Yeah, I definitely feel like personally I agree with people like yes, like with you, like more story, more interaction, you know. Um and dungeons, obviously. It looks like there's going to be dungeons, but like we were talking about a minute ago, there could be like some side quest stuff like shrines or whatever. But yeah, no, I love everything about Breath of the Wild. Honestly, I don't have a complaint about Breath of the Wild. Like
Not even weapon durability?
no, not even weapon durability. I'm one of those guys that actually, and I'm sure people are going to hate me for this. I liked it because it made me play with other weapons.
So I don't mind that part. Mm-hmm. But it was more that we were limited to, I think it was 8 or 10 weapon slots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was low. And then especially when you're first starting off the game, everything breaks super quickly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to get your bearings, you're running around fighting stuff, and just...
That was off balance because you collect Korok seeds, you know, and whatever, you can expand your inventory areas with like swords and shields and stuff. And it's like, okay, I have to get like 999 of these, but I can only expand this much with swords and stuff because like I'm one of those guys, I want one of each item in my inventory. Right. I like to collect. So, okay, yeah, and it is hard, like weapon durability is like 50-50 with me. I liked it because it made me experience stuff, and I love like throwing a broken weapon at an enemy, like that's addicting. But like the Master Sword, come on, it's the Master Sword. It's been in like a majority of the Zelda games. It does not break. So
it
like
need to recharge, yeah.
Yeah.
So my first thing that I want to note about the trailer is just the spread of the Hylian civilization. Like, it seems like there's a lot more populated areas, and like I don't know, just kind of like regrowing the kingdom, and that's really cool to see. Like Breath of the Wild, the landscape was just so empty. Like, I didn't mind that. There was plenty to explore, but I don't know. I kind of like to see life and not just confined to the stables or the cities. Like, I kind of want, I mean, there was people walking around a little bit, but
yeah. But see, like, to me, the reason I feel like the game was like that was it makes sense because a calamity took over.
Right.
So it felt, honestly, like everybody's like, oh, Tears of the Kingdom looks darker and it looks like this. And it's like, yeah, it does. But in a sense, I feel like Breath of the Wild, like, it was a beautiful game, but it was depressing because it's like, you don't have those civilizations. Everybody is like huddled in a village because they're too scared to go out because Ganon is...
Right, like he's over there swirling around the castle.
And it made sense too, like, to me, like, I actually envisioned myself in the game like Link, where it's like, it's been 100 years since I've stepped foot in Hyrule. Yeah, the weapons are going to be crap. You know, this is going to be like this. Like, everything's going to need to be refixed. So, like, I guess that visual artistic approach with it.
And like last time that Link was awake, there were whole armies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, there were whole armies, and
he steps out of the Shrine of Resurrection, and it's just like this empty green wasteland.
Yeah, and so it makes sense that way. But coming as like a gamer, yeah, it's more like sometimes less is more. But I feel like Breath of the Wild did such a good job that now it's like we can add more to it, and it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. So excited. What I liked from the trailer, from like 2019 up, is just obviously speculation and theories and everything that's been floating in the air. My favorite part of the trailer has to be Ganondorf is back, which I have a ton of theories about him, which we'll get to in a second. But Ganondorf looks bad. I mean, freaking samurai dwarf. I don't know. Like, I just finished replaying again Ghost of Tsushima. I should have thrown that in with what I was playing. But my favorite samurai game of all time is that game. And so like seeing like samurai Ganondorf is like so cool.
It's such a good aesthetic.
Yeah. And so that was my favorite part of the trailer. Other than that, just all the other details, man. I mean, just it was so good.
I just remembered something. Back in Wind Waker, wasn't he wearing like a kimono?
Yes, and he had two swords,
Yeah.
or like twin
Like
blades.
katanas.
And if you actually look at the Japanese version, they have writing on them, and they're named after the witches in Ocarina of Time.
Oh, I just went blank on their names.
Yeah.
And they're in Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I want to look it up.
Or,
Kotake and Kume.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah. So, my Ganondorf theory. A lot of people are speculating that it's Twilight Princess reference.
Okay.
I think Zelda and Link aren't at the depths of Hyrule Castle. I think that they're at Arbiter Grounds from Twilight Princess.
Interesting.
Because Ganondorf is a Gerudo,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a feeling that the Arbiter Grounds are going to play a role in Tears of the Kingdom. That's because that was like the prison, the encampment,
Right.
and he was sent there to be executed, but he didn't die. He actually killed, I believe, the water sage there. Do you remember that in Twilight Princess when they stabbed him with like the sage sword?
No, it's been so
And
long since I played Twilight Princess.
He like countered it and like killed one of the sages. So that's my theory, is because if you look at him, if I'm not mistaken, he has a wound in his chest, and at the end of Twilight Princess, Link stabs the Master Sword through his chest.
Interesting.
And the hand is holding him in place, which makes me think it's like Twilight. Which it's malice, the stuff that's everywhere, which looks like it infects Link's arm and he gets a cool cyborg arm.
There you go.
That is my theory. And then I also have something really cool. This is how I found out that it was Ganondorf from the first trailer. In Ocarina of Time, when you go to the Spirit Temple as young Link, when you have to crawl through that little crawl space.
Yeah.
He talks to the sage. What's her name? Nibiru or something like that.
Oh, Noboru.
Noboru. And she says, I have it right here on my Switch. A kid like you may not know this, but the Gerudo race consists only of women. Only one man is born every 100 years.
Ah.
So
Okay,
that's how I instantly knew it was Ganondorf, because it's been like 100 years since Link. So I feel like Calamity Ganon was a puppet and a distraction
from the actual.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a crackpot theory.
Uh-huh.
And yours is way more grounded than mine is. But I think there's time travel involved.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Since I'm replaying Breath of the Wild, and I was looking at that tapestry again, and I'm like, that is 100% Ganondorf. I think there's a earlier time where Ganondorf was actually the knight that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Now, whether this is like a split timeline or something, because Link is not on that tapestry. I don't know. I think, because usually Ganondorf turns into Ganon. Usually.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how this fits in exactly.
Or do you think there's going to be two Links? So, like, for example, Twilight Princess, you know how you turn into Wolf Link?
Ooh, what if you turn into Ganon Link?
Ganon Link, or what if the Link with, like, the cyborg arm is another Link?
I don't know.
Yeah, because that was kind of a thought I had. Like, they're talking about the knight, and they didn't say it was Link. So what if, like, the one in the sky? Like, at first I was like, because time travel made sense to me, and I think Zelda's stuck somewhere.
I think she's stuck somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was funny when she's like, you have to find me or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody did some triangulation on her location, and they already found her. And it's like, I think it's over close to where the Temple of Time is.
Okay, all right.
But, like, that's right there. So yeah. I think it's a win, not a where. But I'm curious, because that's Ganondorf talking to Zelda at the end of the trailer, right?
I believe so. And
he puts like a hand on her shoulder?
Yes.
I think it's Hero Ganondorf.
So do you think Ganondorf, maybe there's a bad and a good one?
I think Ganondorf was the original knight and got corrupted by malice and then became Calamity Ganon.
That would make sense for this timeline.
Yeah.
Then.
And so maybe, I don't know, Link jumps back and forth to change the timeline.
And that's where I thought, like, originally there would be 2 Links. You know, kind of a back and forth.
Like the original 100-year-old
Because Link. Age of Calamity, the Hyrule Warriors, Dynasty Warriors game, I don't know if that was just a canon or if it actually tied in too, but that had time traveling in it as well from a Guardian.
Interesting, yeah. So in the overall Zelda timeline...
So if I'm not mistaken, I think this is a separate, like, not even tied into. Like, originally, it wasn't tied into it, but now with, like, the Skyward Sword HD re-release, or it came after Ocarina. Like, there was something, Aonuma said something along those lines, I think.
Okay, so Aonuma said, in books like the recent released The Legend of Zelda Encyclopedia, we revealed where each Zelda game fell on a timeline and how their stories related, but we didn't do that for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. With this game, we just saw how many players were playing on their own way and had those reactions I just mentioned. We realized that people were enjoying imagining the story that emerged from the fragmentary imagery we were providing. If we defined a restricted timeline, there would be a definitive story, and it would eliminate the room for imagination, which wouldn't be as fun. Okay, so you're right. This one is not on the timeline.
Yeah. So a lot of people are speculating that it ties into Skyward Sword with Demise. Because Demise is technically Ganon, like, everything bad. And he basically is like, you know, doesn't matter if you defeat me, evil's always going to take its course, you know?
Right.
So that would make sense, but I have a feeling that, because everybody's like, oh, like, Skyward Sword's up in the sky, blah, 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 all this stuff. Well, if I'm not mistaken, the Zonai, the race that's, you know, obviously in Breath of the Wild, fleed to the sky. So I just don't know where this would fit, because it's like, okay, does it come after Skyward Sword? Does it come, you know, after Ocarina?
It definitely sounds before, because if the islands are now floating in this
I would assume it would be after, because Skyward Sword, you create the Master Sword.
That's right.
And that's like the whole thing. And then, like, Demise,
because Skyward Sword is very first in the timeline, right?
Yes, yeah. So it would have to either be after Skyward Sword, or it would have to branch off of Ocarina of Time. So what if Ocarina of Time has another, like, branch? Because the Master Sword's in Ocarina, Ganondorf's in Ocarina.
Yeah. And I think it
time travel's in Ocarina.
And I think it does have 3 branches. There's the Child Link branch, the Adult Link branch, but then I think there's a 3rd branch where he gets defeated.
Yes, yeah. And then the Temple of Time, like, all the locations are there. So, and they're destroyed in Breath of the Wild. So that's my theory, is like it's after Skyward, or it branches off Ocarina of some sort. Or, like Aonuma said, it's just kind of its own thing.
It exists in its own, its own timeline. But yeah, so I really think that we're going to see some jumping back and forth between, like, pre-Calamity Ganon and then post Breath of the Wild. That's my main theory. And the one thing that I would love to see in this is that battle where you've got all of the Guardians on the Hylian side. And then when they turn, I would love to have a part in this game where, like, you get to be there for that.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see. It's like 1,000 Guardians going after Calamity.
Did you ever play Age of Calamity?
I did not. I haven't played either of the Switch Hyrule Warriors.
Okay, they're both great.
Are they?
Yeah. If you want to play every Link, get the original. I'd say get both. I would say start with Age of Calamity, though, because you get to be a part of those battles.
Oh.
But,
never mind then.
Well, what specifically do you want to see in this game? Like, do you want, like, a 100% story-driven game, which it looks like it's going to be way more story-driven?
Yeah.
Do you want, like, would you be okay with side stuff? Like you said, a flashback moment where it's like you want to go to that battle. What if there are memories, but instead they're actually like
playable memories?
Playable memories where you could like do do stuff.
That I would be fine with. And as far as side stuff goes, it's not a Zelda game if there's not side stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one thing that I miss the most are the trading sequences.
Oh yeah.
I loved trading sequences. Like I said, I just finished up Oracle of Seasons and now I'm playing Ages.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite things is just this weird side quest where you're like, somebody's like, oh, I need something to help me keep time. And you trade a ghost, give him, set him free, and he gives you a spooky clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then you give that to the postman 100 years earlier in time. Or is it 1,000 years? I'm trying to remember what the time difference in Ages is, even though I'm playing it. I think it's 500 years.
It's been so long since I played that game. But it is a good Zelda game, which they are coming to Switch Online soon.
I'm excited about it. Yeah, then I can play it legally. Which I have it on the Game Boy. I just am emulating it on my phone. Mm-hmm. It's just easier. I'm not going to carry the Advance around with me.
Yeah. So the super big speculation of Tears of the Kingdom is dungeons.
Yes.
So in the trailer, it looks like the tiers are kind of like something you would collect at the end of a dungeon.
Like the crystals or
the medallions
something from the old
whatever,
school game.
pendants. Yeah. So I personally, to me, the Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild felt like dungeons, but they
were still miniature. They were
still miniature. I do hope that if there are dungeons in Tears of the Kingdom, which it definitely looks like there are, I hope that you can just
leave whenever you want
with no loading screens or anything. Just oh, this one's in the sky, I can just fly off and get back to it when I want. Because OG Zeldas, you had to, you could warp or use forays, wind or whatever to get out. But that's something that I liked about the Divine Beasts, where I could just kind of pop in and out when I want.
Peace out.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
So.
Yeah. And it really seems like Nintendo's philosophy on these is pretty, other than the shrines, no loading times, everything's accessible. Mm-hmm. But like you said, for the Divine Beasts, that was just part of the world. Yeah. And I can't imagine these are any different. If you look at a place like Goron Mountain, Death Mountain in Breath of the Wild, none of that had loading screens. It was just in and out whenever you wanted.
Yeah.
So I imagine these are a lot the same, and especially with the ability to warp yourself up above a floor, I have a feeling that's going to play a big part of it.
Do you think towers, shrines, all of that, how do you feel about that?
Whether it's going to be in this game or not? Mm-hmm. That's an interesting one, because how many shrines were there? There were
120.
120. So we've done all of those if you've 100%ed the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they still have to be there, right?
I don't know.
Or did all the towers and shrines get destroyed by some event?
I'm really curious if Nintendo will take kind of the Skyrim approach or something, where a shrine may be a cave, or a shrine may be a hole. Remember when in Ocarina where you'd fall down a hole, or something, and that would be kind of cool to give it more of that environmental exploration, instead of oh, I found a shrine, I go in and it's another trial of the strength or something like that.
Yeah, are they all deactivated in this one? Because if it's the same map, all the shrines are still going to be there. Mm-hmm. How are they repurposing all of these, 120 of these shrines, just dotting the landscape, and towers? I don't remember how many towers there were.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen them in any of the trailers.
So there are, I'll have to find it. In the trailer, you can see what looks like a possible shrine or dungeon entry. And it's actually, I don't think it's the recent trailer. It's the trailer before, the gameplay trailer. You can see something off in the distance. I don't know. It's hard. What if maybe the towers are in the sky or something, and then you can just plop down below to where you need to be in Hyrule?
Oh, so the towers are still the warp points?
Yeah, still the warp points. But it was either one of the podcasts or it was in the trailer, but it looked like you could see some form of a shrine or entry point of something. Whether it's a shrine, tower, or dungeon. I could just watch these trailers. I love it. I just love like the new weapons and like the shield design and his costume, and I'm
really excited about it. So I have one thing I want to bring up, and that's remember the very first trailer. There was like mummified Ganondorf.
Yes.
Under the castle. Okay, so something that I noticed is the prophecy that King Roam's talking about in Breath of the Wild when you get the paraglider and he's going through his story again. It says that the thing that is going to save Hyrule, and this has been talked about for, it's for centuries. It's one of their, folk tales or whatever. But the thing that will save Hyrule is buried, and they find Ganondorf mummified under the castle. And then in this one, in the tapestry, it shows him fighting Calamity Ganon. That I think reinforces my theory of Hero Ganondorf.
That is true, yeah. I think Hero Ganondorf, or what if the king is evil?
You think King Roam is evil?
What if he is?
I mean, that would be interesting.
Well, that would be a huge Nintendo plot twist. Like, screw you guys. You were wrong this whole time.
Right? It'd be up to them to throw us for a loop.
Or what if, do you think this game is going to conclude the Breath of the Wild timeline story, or do you think that we're going to have a continuation story-wise?
Like, you think they're going to make a trilogy out of it?
Well, it kind of is if you throw Age of Calamity in.
I don't even know what thread we're on right now. There's so much happening.
Yeah.
There's so many theories and rumors, and we still have another month.
I know. I feel like there's going to be more. And then, obviously, like the Zonai race and stuff. Like, are they going to be good? Are they going to be bad? I mean, you can see, like...
Is it some third type where they're just kind of, like, completely neutral?
Yeah, no idea. So, I mean, it would make sense that the Sky stuff would be that.
Like the Swiss Zonai over there?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all of my theories with Tears of the Kingdom. I'm just really excited that Ganondorf is back. That was the highlight. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, where are we going to stab him this time? We've stabbed him in the in the head twice, like in the chest. So, are we going to just like behead him? No.
Do you think Ganondorf's going to be playable in this one?
I don't know. And a lot of people are speculating too that potentially Zelda would have some form as well, which
that would be fun.
Yeah. Because everybody's like, it's called Legend of Zelda. And what do we learn? We don't ever get to play her. So
I love your impression of these people.
If you look at like the trailer, the first trailer where the hand is over his chest, it looks like why would they be holding him by the chest?
Right. Because
in Twilight Princess, he basically gets blown up by Minda. But
he gets massacred in every game where we kill him.
He gets massacred, yeah. But like, it just doesn't like. To me, that was like, okay, that's kind of a hint. Like that was the last spot where he got killed.
Yeah,
and it's like a mummified. How deep
does his rabbit hole go?
I can't explain it, but there are a lot of really cool. Like apparently in Breath of the Wild, there is a spot in the desert you cannot get to. And that's what a lot of people are assuming is the Arbiter's grounds.
I just want to know how much of this game was planned when they made Breath of the Wild. Because there's things like the tapestry. There's hints and all kinds of things. And then, I don't know, just how all of these pieces are fitting together. Just there were so many unresolved threads from Breath of the Wild. How much of this is planned?
My other theory is Hyrule Castle never reestablished itself. So at the start of not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, I would assume maybe Zelda's we need to go back to the castle, like they abandoned it, and they go, and that's where they discover. Possibly there's something underneath the castle, which is, that, or maybe she gets a vision, like kind of a Link to the Past or something, where it's like the king's like, hey Zelda, go to the castle, I need you to go explore, and then like they
King
go.
is dead. What I want to know is how Zelda has survived for 100 years holding off Ganon. Did they ever explain that?
No.
Or does
Maybe.
Zelda have the power of time travel?
That is true. That is true.
She's immortal, apparently.
Do you think a musical instrument will come back? I miss having those.
I kind of hope it does. Yeah. Because...
Or a companion? Like, what if Link's arm is like Fee or whatever?
Like
or
his
something.
arm. Did you ever see the movie Idle Hands?
Yeah. Or it's
like
Midna. Midna's back. No.
Yeah, no, I'm okay.
Oh, Midna was so good.
I'm okay with Midna.
But yeah, that was kind of another theory. Like, I don't know. Maybe the king's a bad guy. Who knows?
That's such an out... Because, okay, so we see King Rome in the beginning of Breath of the Wild. Did we ever really see him again in the rest of the game?
The ending, and then Age of Calamity, he was
he's all
good. Yeah.
Okay.
But it just doesn't... I agree with your theory that Ganondorf was a hero, and then he got whatever...
Corrupted.
Malice, which... But it would be so weird, though, because like in Ocarina of Time, they said every 100 years, they like men are banished. You know, Ganondorf did that, and they're still banished in Breath of the Wild.
Although there is one thing I want to point out, and that's I can only assume they're not Gerudo men, but some of the women in the Gerudo village in Breath of the Wild reference their husbands. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're Gerudo men.
Yes, yeah. And that's a good point too. I'm just really going back to like where this fits in the timeline.
Well, Anuma says it doesn't. So
yeah, he says it doesn't, but like
there's so many references to the other games that like it kind of has to fit in the timeline somewhere. Whether even if it's off on its own thing, the fact that it's still referencing the rest of the series in a ton of different ways, like it has to fit somewhere.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll renege on their statement that it doesn't fit in the timeline with this one. Because it seems like way more of a storyline tie-in. There's just so many callbacks and just details that we're about to figure out in a month here. But man, I may have to take like a week off of work and just play straight through this. One
more theory that I had was, what if there are two enemies? So like you have Ganondorf, but you know how like in Twilight Princess there was Zant? Yeah. So
and
that
in the Oracle games, like you think the bad guy is whoever you're going after. Like in one, it's like the witch. I can't remember her name. Yeah. The other one is the big like night guy, but they're being controlled by Twinrova. Yeah.
Wind Waker didn't have... Wind Waker was just straight Ganondorf and, you know, some side stuff. So, I don't know. That was another theory. Like, what if, like, the Zonai are kind of like the side enemy that unlocked Ganondorf?
The distraction.
The distraction or whatever. And then whatever. But I really do... I like the whole, like, malice and the whole theory you have where, like, he could have been a good guy. It just doesn't make sense for him to be a good guy because in Breath of the Wild men are hated, but it's been 100 years,
right?
And every 100 years, according to Ocarina of Time,
which is crazy that you found that. That's such a good find.
Nobody else has said anything like that. So I don't know if I'm the first. Leave a comment down below if I'm not. So maybe he was, you know, like you said, he was a hero and he was a knight because Link was like training. Link wasn't appointed.
That's a
Zelda.
good point. That's a good point.
And then she's like, oh my God, like I have to walk with this guy because she hates him, you know?
So maybe he was being trained by Ganondorf. Ganondorf turns evil. And then Link becomes the knight.
I think we have a really, really good thought process.
We're probably absolutely crazy and like Nintendo's not going to go this far with it, but they've been super cryptic about this whole thing.
Which they always are. I mean, like,
but I think this is going to be, because I mean, Breath of the Wild had story. But like the way that they've revealed this, the way that they've been super guarded about it, And even in the gameplay demo, like everything else, like there's no hints at what exactly is happening in this story.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think this is going to be probably, with the exception of maybe Twilight Princess, like the most story heavy Zelda that we've ever gotten.
Yeah, probably. I'm curious to see.
And excited.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll stream some of it.
Oh, we should.
We should.
Are you going to get it digitally or physically?
Probably both.
Okay.
So, it depends. Like, if I can make it to the store to get a physical copy, which, I mean, I doubt anybody's buying them up in my hometown. So, yeah, I'll probably run to good old Wally World.
Yeah.
That
movie gallery. No.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to open a movie gallery in town. Not a movie gallery. I'm going to open up a movie place, game rental, and tanning bed place.
Yes.
Just kidding. I don't want that cancer to be my fault.
I think I'm going to get it. This is going to be the first time I've ever gotten a Zelda game digitally. And I think I'm just going to stick that way. Because
that way?
I think I'm going to stick that way. Yeah. I love, obviously, yes, I love physical games. I love having my Zelda games physically. But I really want to play it at midnight. I think I'm going to go old school, and like none of the places around here do midnight releases anymore. I did pre-order the amiibo, so I am going to pick up the amiibo. But yeah, I think I'm going to go digital on this one. That way I can just have it and just instantly play it instead of having to like go and get it and, you know,
go through the updates. And
yeah,
which I don't know how big of an update they're going to have, because they finished the game a while ago, so they're probably pretty solid.
Yeah, I think I checked it was 18 gigabytes of storage, which I have plenty of space on my Switch, but
yeah, you have the OLED model.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go digital though. I want to play it. Like I want to wake up and just instantly start, you know, and not have to. If they end up like, if the GameStop here has, like, I went to the midnight release of Link's Awakening because that was the same night as the Switch Lite release as well.
Oh yeah.
Dude, those people didn't want to be there. Like, and you know, I get it. Yes, it sucks. Like,
it's not like it used to be.
Yeah, but it's like, dude, like, this is awesome. And then they did a midnight release for Smash Ultimate, which I got sick. I couldn't go. But I heard it was still, like, very, like, okay, we're going to do, like, some quick Smash rounds, and that's it. Get out kind of thing.
The last midnight release I went to was the last Harry Potter book.
Wow.
What a nerd fest. It was I think it was at a Books A Million.
Okay, was that like Deathly Hallows or like the Cursed Child?
Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Not Cursed Child.
Yeah, I didn't know.
No,
sorry.
That doesn't exist.
Oh, man. But
no,
that's really cool.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm curious because, like, here in this town that I live in, all we have is a Walmart, and it closes at, I think, 11.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also incompetent enough that maybe they'll put it out early.
Dude, yeah, our Walmart, and there's been times I can like get the game early through Best Buy, but I can't pick it up. Like, but I can buy it, and it's like, your order's ready, and it's like, oh, it's like a day or two like early.
Yeah.
Our Best Buy is pretty good. Yeah, I think digitally is gonna be kind of my go-to for the next few games. I go through phases where it's like, I want to go get it physically and stuff, but having a 1-year-old that can almost open a Switch case and find my games, I don't want her chewing on those.
Man, dude. Well, they have the bittering on them, which is, have you tasted it?
Oh, yeah. I bought
so
Breath
gross.
of the Wild new, and I bought it new specifically to lick a cartridge.
Right? So leave a note in the comments if you've licked your Switch cartridge just to see.
You may win that free copy of Tears of the Kingdom. Whoever can lick the most Switch... No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. We don't need another Tide Pod challenge or anything.
The Switch cartridge challenge.
Yeah, the Switch cartridge challenge. But
how many cartridges can you fit in your mouth? Seriously, don't do that. We're not
liable. Turn green like Ganondorf.
We're not liable for any swallowed Switch cartridges.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I may do digital just to play it, and then I may get a physical copy and leave it. Put it up on the shelf and not do it. Like, not open it, just leave it there. Because, like, I was thinking about it, and, like, Ocarina of Time, for me, is really, like, playing it, you know, through it with Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have a feeling like that's going to be his Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
So
it could be.
In 30 years, people like him going to have disposable income. They're going to want an original unopened copy of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Nobody steal my idea. You're going to saturate them.
You know what's crazy is, like you say, like your son, like that's going to be his Ocarina of Time experience. Well, Breath of the Wild was my second Ocarina of Time experience, because playing that game, I literally got the same feeling as I did when I first played Ocarina of Time.
Really?
20-something years ago.
Yeah, just like, oh man, I can do this, I can do that
kind
of thing.
And Breath of the Wild holds your hand a little bit, but not a whole lot. Like, I still find side quests like that I may have already completed just because I found it on the way, But and the same with Mario Odyssey. It felt like playing Super Mario 64 again.
Yeah, I had that with Odyssey for sure.
Mm-hmm. But Breath of the Wild did it because it got me back into gaming, because we talked like in our episode of games that don't hold up to nostalgia.
Yeah.
The original Tomb Raider technically was the first game I ever played, and it kind of made me never want to play video games again. And
controls.
Yeah, and then Ocarina of Time was the first N64 game that like I instantly fell in love with and I beat and everything. And then I went through this whole hiatus of like, I didn't care what, I had an Xbox One, a PS4. Everything was like $60 game that was like half finished or needed an update. And the consoles didn't launch with the greatest games. So I kind of got burned out. And then the Switch came out in Breath of the Wild, and that got me back into gaming and actually got me into open world gaming. So after I beat Breath of the Wild, I got Skyrim for the Switch because I never played Skyrim and I instantly loved it. But what I'm getting at though is like, it's kind of funny that as a kid I was burned out on gaming, but then I played Ocarina, loved it, and then I got burned out in my like mid-20s gaming, and then it's like I played Breath of the Wild and I'm feeling it now. Like I love the Switch. I love what PlayStation 5, Xbox is doing. I've even thought about getting a Steam Deck because
a lot of the guys that I work with have a Steam Deck,
mm-hmm.
and they love it.
I mean, it's affordable. You can take your Steam library with you. Thought about doing it, but holding out for Tears of the Kingdom because I instantly know that's going to like suck me back into gaming, and I'm going to beat Tears of the Kingdom and be like, I'm going to replay Breath of the Wild or replay all the Zeldas again.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying this kind of like going back through some of the old Zeldas. Like I did A Link to the Past not too long ago, doing Oracle of Seasons, now Oracle of Ages, and then piling on Breath of the Wild with that. Like, if there's not a Wind Waker HD that comes to Switch soon, like I'm just going to have to bust out my GameCube.
Yeah.
And go back and play that.
I've thought about buying another Wii U which I know they shut the shops down because they were only like $20 a pop.
Yeah.
On the shop. But I've honestly thought about getting another Wii U to replay that HD remaster is freaking phenomenal. Like
you're
probably
one
of my
favorite. That I
favorite.
skipped out on the Wii U.
Well, you should feel that way. I know a lot of people hated the Wii U, which it's in my top 5 Nintendo systems of all time.
Yeah.
Just because it came to me in a very... Did I tell you the story about how I discovered the Wii U?
No.
So I moved out of my dad's. This is the mental health topic for, tonight's episode, sponsored by me. So I moved out of my dad's. I was 18, kind of going through a rough patch there mentally and physically. And so I moved into, this may be another East Texas only thing, studio apartment connected to a double wide mobile home. Moved into one of those. Yeah.
Hold on. Before you continue, explain studio apartment connected to a double wide?
Yeah. So I grew up in a mobile home, which is fine. Mobile homes are cool. A majority of houses in East Texas are mobile homes. Well, I found this lady on Craigslist who had an ad for a $400 a month studio apartment that was connected to her double wide.
Is this like pier and beam slab? Like, is this like a regular apartment with a door into the double wide?
Yes and no. It's very hard to explain. This is how East Texan engineered this is. So I moved in there. Not bad. It was like a big living room with a kitchen and a bathroom.
Nice.
Her alcoholic son lived with her, and he was basically waiting for me to finish my lease so he could move back into that room because he needed somewhere to stay.
This is extremely East Texas.
Yeah. So I was going through like depression because I moved out and I was working 3 jobs and going to college. And then my girlfriend at the time, had moved to Denton. So we were long distance, apart. So I was by myself, and mentally I'm not okay by myself. Now I'm a little bit better, but back then, no. And it wasn't as like much suicidal or anything. It was just anxiety.
Yeah.
Like having a panic attack by yourself is the worst feeling ever. So I remember I was walking to my apartment, and the drunk son called himself Okie Dokie Pokey because he was the cool, crazy clown that wanted me to perform for him musically with his clown show that he was writing a clown play. So I would have to, like, out of all the crap I was going through, I'd have to talk to this guy while he was like drunk, because the way this apartment was set up was it was her house, a back porch, and the apartment was connected to her house. So I would have to go across the back porch. Well, that's where he smoked and drank. So it got to the point where I was having to sneak out of my window to get to my car to avoid this guy. And yeah, long story short, the guy was like a child sex offender, registered sex offender, all this stuff. When I moved out, he followed me. He got in his car and followed me. And I drove to my aunt's house and hide away.
Sorry. You got followed by Okie Pokey, the drunk clown?
Okie Dokie Pokey, yeah.
Cool,
crazy clown. He used to have a YouTube channel, but I think they took it down, which I'm glad they did because the guy really needed help. Really, really needed help, obviously. But moral of the story is the Wii U got me through that very rough patch because I was going through a stalemate with my PlayStation 3. I'd beaten every single God of War, every single Resistance, Killzone, like every game that came to it. And I remember my brother gave me his Wii when I moved out with Skyward Sword, and the Wii died. And I was really bummed because I was like actually progressing through Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
So I was doing a college assignment, and I was just feeling super depressed. And I was like, I'm going to listen to some Nintendo music. So I pulled up some Ocarina of Time music in the background on YouTube. And I got an ad of Reggie talking about the Nintendo Wii U and how it was coming out that week. And I was like, oh my God, Nintendo has a new system, because everybody thought that. They were like, oh, what the hell's a Wii U? Yeah. And I saw it, and I instantly fell in love with it because the gamepad had analog sticks. And I was like, oh my God, Nintendo's going back to like a classic controller. And I bought it at launch. And it was a really good weekend because
like you and 2 other people.
Yeah, me. No, actually, it was quite a bit of people at GameStop. It was about like 18 to 20 people waiting in line to get the system.
Well, apparently that's the only store that had people buying the Wii U at launch.
Interesting. Yeah.
No, I'm just making a joke about the terrible sales of the Wii U.
It was a good weekend though because my wife was in town and I had some friends over, and we ordered pizza and played the Wii U.
Nice.
And was a good console then, and then I took a very long break from it because I'm like, oh my God, this system sucks. But then Breath of the Wild came out, and I got it for the Wii U because I didn't know how the Switch was going to do, and I didn't want to drop $300-something on a new Nintendo system, not knowing how it was going to be.
Right.
And then I played Breath of the Wild, instantly loved it. I played the HD versions of Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. My wife took me to the Zelda concert. Played the virtual consoles. History. Yeah, and then got a Switch, and I love the Switch.
Man, the story about living in a studio apartment attached to a double wide, being stalked by the drunk clown Okie Dokie Pokey.
Mm-hmm. I found out he was a registered sex offender because my friend that I worked with, he moved in with me, and then he moved out. but he lived with me for a few months because we worked together.
Yeah.
He was going to he's a cop now, so he was studying criminal justice, all that, and he showed me an app that they were learning at school where you could look up records, to find warrants, hunt people down. And he looked him up, and he was caught peeing by an elementary school, and then he was caught again peeing on the elementary school. So, and he was caught because the second time he was doing it during recess. So,
oh no,
it was just weird, man.
This story just keeps getting weirder.
He pulled me aside one day. I got out of my car and I was exhausted. Like I said, I was working 3 jobs. I was working 3 jobs in college. I was also playing in 2 bands at the time. And I remember I came home and he was like, "Let me see your arm hair." And I was like, "What?" And he just grabs my arm and he pulls like a pinch of arm hair and he goes, "Blonde. You're blonde." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was just out of it. And he's like, "You're going to hell." He's like, God doesn't accept blondes in his kingdom. And I'm like, all right, man. Like, I want to know what you're smoking or doing, like, yeah.
Dude. Yeah. That is about the weirdest story
And what's
I've
that
ever heard.
song that, oh, sometimes I get a good feeling. Yeah. Never know. There used to be a YouTube video of him dancing to that. And I wish I could find it. And to those listening or watching us, yes, this is a guy who needed help. At the time, I was too young to understand what he was going through. So I'm not making fun of him. I'm just telling you about these crazy experiences. So if you know anybody that's going through this, get them help or try to be there for him.
Yeah.
But he had a YouTube video of him dancing to that song, and that's when I instantly knew. I was like, okay, like, I found out he went through a divorce, and his mom, who was my landlord, really nice person. Honestly, she's like, you know what? Just like leave your rent, put your rent in my grill. That's literally where I had to put it. She's like, just put it in the back porch. Like, I'll get it. If you're late, no biggie. You're a good guy. But secretly, my son's watching you and wants that spot.
Man.
No.
Oh, dude.
So, yeah.
It sounds like, honestly, like the synopsis to a horror film.
Now that I think about it, I'm really, really surprised. Like,
How are you not in the trunk of a clown car?
I'm not a huge male, but I do give off like that rocker because I have the beard and the hair. I mean, at the time, I was a baby face, so I would have been a catch for him, but... So, no. Sorry, I just had to get that out of the room. But yeah, it was that's my Wii U story.
Okie dokie pokey. If you're watching this, I hope you're better now.
Yes,
and that's genuine. Like, I hope you're doing better.
Yeah, it was just very, very scary, but I was in such a mental wreck, that like. It just didn't even bother me, which is the sad part because it's like, no, dude, like this guy like could kidnap you or murder you in your sleep. I just didn't even think about it because I was like, I don't care. Like,
dang, dude.
So
that's crazy.
But let's wrap this up. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to check us out every Thursday on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And just remember, it is dangerous to go alone.
I'll see you next time.